There's a cat over here. There's a cat over there. And the wrong one died. And the wrong one died.
Welcome to The Wrong Cat Died, the podcast breakdown of the catastrophe. I'm your host, Mike Abrams, and today we have an amazing guest. You may have seen her on Broadway in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory or Finding Neverland, or you might know her from her role as Celia on ABC's new sitcom Call Your Mother. But she's here today because I have been told she has an incredible tie to Cats the Musical due to an infamous audition. So welcome, Emma Caymares, and thank you for joining me.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Now, we will get to this audition because one of your very good friends told me about this audition and I want to hear it directly from you. But before we do that, I always love to hear about your just history with Cats. So pre-audition, like how many times had you seen it? Had you seen it at all? Like what was your relationship to the show?
So, okay, I gotta come clean. I don't know much about Cats.
That's okay.
You know, I've seen the Broadway show. I saw the revival with Colin. You know, I saw it live. The first time I saw it was on a VHS tape from the public library. I believe in the year 2001. It was for middle school.
3 years after the VHS came out.
Yes, 3 years after the VHS came out, I knew that. I rented it from the public library because I went to an arts school and I had to do I think it was a report or something with dance history. And I was like, okay, I'll watch the musical Cats. And I watched it on VHS and I was thoroughly confused and amused and entertained. And I was like, I have no idea what's happening, but I want to do that. That looks like a lot of fun.
So what grade was that?
That was like 6th or 7th grade.
6th or 7th. So junior high-ish.
Junior high.
So that's not like super young. I have a very big thing. I don't like that a lot of kids go see the show. I think it's too dark and scary for children. Yeah, but the VHS isn't that bad because it's more of a movie setting. It's not.
Yeah, it was a movie. I just was a little confused. You know, it's the type of thing, like I watched Labyrinth when I was a kid and I was like, what the hell is going on? And then I watched it as an adult and I was like, oh, this is amazing. I feel like it's in the same vein.
I mean,
of the cult, you know?
It is. It's so interesting because I'm not a dancer, not a singer, not at all related to the Broadway community besides now because of this podcast. And so I never had that, like, go see the movie. I didn't know that there was a VHS until after I saw the revival and someone was like, oh, you should go watch that version. There's a 1998 DVD or VHS or wherever you can find, which is really what's up on YouTube. So it's like, you can just watch pieces of it on YouTube. And it was just so new to me. So every time I've heard, you're not the first person that's done some like substitute teacher brought it in and showed it or junior high project. But that's just fascinating to me because that's just not at all what my junior high school would have asked
I went
of
to
us.
an arts. I grew up in LA, you know.
Yeah, I grew up in Indiana, so it's very different. So you saw that, and did you what was your take when you saw it? So you said you were confused, but
I was so confused.
Okay, so that's junior high you, and you've kind of probably blocked it out for the rest of your life until when?
I remember really enjoying it because I was a dancer. You know, I was a really serious dancer, still am, but now I'm acting more. But I was like, I want to do something like that. Like, that looks amazing. Like, I remember it making a good impression that I was like, whoa, what is this insanity? I want to be a cat. And then I kind of forgot about it, and then life happened. Boring, life. And then Cats popped up in my life again when I was in Finding Neverland. And it was like the hottest backstage buzz. It was like, oh my God, did you hear? Cats is coming back to Broadway. Oh my God, did you hear? Like Andy Blankenbuehler. Like, it was like the number one hot goss of backstage of Broadway.
So this is now what, 2015-ish?
This is 2015, 2016. Yeah, 2015.
Yeah. So
and
you are on Broadway.
On Broadway.
And you're just, everything is, everyone's talking about.
Everything is happening. Broadway is happening. Cats is coming to town. We can't believe it. And I was like, I'm gonna be in this show. I was determined because Finding Neverland was my debut. I had done the workshop, the out of town run. And then we were like in the thick of the run when Cats was like starting to buzz about like people were starting to get auditions. So I was like, oh, I am so ready. This is going to be my second show. I am doing it. Like, I can't wait to dance in a unitard. Like, let's go. I was very excited.
And then this is what leads to this infamous audition. So how did you land the audition? You know,
my
your agent. Okay, I know nothing about this world. So this is like, it's all foreign to me. So it's
teach you.
Yes. So so your agent lands you the audition. You're ready to go.
Yeah, and I remember she landed me the audition, and I was backstage, in like on stage left was where like the boys hung out in the backstage of Finding Neverland, and it was Colin and some of our other boys. And we would always have our little tea time. You know, I'd walk over there and talk to them. And I remember talking to them and I was like, you guys, I think I'm gonna buy a white unitard for this audition. Like, what do you think? And they were like, go for it, do it. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. Like, I don't care. Can I curse on this
Absolutely.
podcast? I was like, whatever. I'm gonna fucking buy a fucking white fucking unitard. That was verbatim what I said. So I remember going to the Capizio store on Broadway, I believe in 50th Street. I went to the Capizio store. I like tried on a long sleeved white unitard that is just a touch translucent. And I took a photo of myself for my agent. And I sent it to her. I was like, this is what I'm wearing to the Cats audition. And she was like, I love it. Great. Everybody was just gassing me up. Everybody was like, yes, this is such a good idea, Emma. Live your dreams. And I was like, great. I'm amazing. I'm going to kill this. And I do have to give you some context of like my training as a dancer. Like if I was like a tap dancer or a hip hop dancer or just like a theater jazz dancer, I would not have done this. Because I have a lot of like, I have ballet and contemporary ballet training. So the only reason I had so much confidence in myself was because I have the technique to back it up. Mm-hmm. If I didn't have the technique to back it up, I wouldn't be so up my own ass about all of this, you know, because you have to know when you can be an asshole. You know what I mean?
Like yes, I mean you're qualified for this role, and there's not a big population of people qualified probably for
I was like, I have the technique, so I'm going to be an asshole. So I was like, I have the chops to back it up, so I feel confident enough to walk into this audition with a long sleeve white unitard. And that wasn't to say that I was like, I am going to be Victoria. That wasn't my goal, actually, and nobody knows this. This is exclusive intel. My goal was not to be Victoria. It just was to be an asshole and to be just like to wear a white unitard. Because I was like, why not? I'm bored. Let's have some fun. Because we only got one life to live. So I was like, I have really good ballet technique. I'm going to slay this audition. I'm going to wear a white unitard. So I buy the unitard. I show it to the boys backstage. They were like, this is phenomenal. Live your dreams. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to like kick it up a notch. And I had just bought this, like onesies, like the animal onesies that everybody loves. I had just bought a tiger onesie from Target. So I was like, I'm going to wear my tiger onesie over my white unitard during the warm-up. So I did that. So I walked into the audition room, because there was a warm-up room and then like the real room where we went into audition. So I walked into the warm-up room with a tiger onesie with the hood up, with the ears and everything. And I just stood there And then I just slowly unzipped and revealed my white unitard.
And what was the reaction?
I had some friends in the room because I knew that I was going to know everybody. So people were just like laughing and shaking their head. And I just started warming up. And I was like, let's go. Let's do this.
So you pretty much know most of this room. Like it's not a huge world that you're in. And so how many people in that room knew you were going to do that? And how many people saw the tiger? Oh, so no one knew. So you come in with tiger outfit and onesie and all, and just.
And I had a high bun. I looked gorgeous. It was amazing.
Just come in, make a statement.
Yeah. And my body looked good because I was on Broadway. I was like doing 8 shows a week. So I was like, great, let's do this. I was 25. Yeah.
Now, how many, I guess this is where I just don't know enough about the world. How many other auditions have you ever dressed up for? None? Like, is this like common? Is this? It's
pretty common. It depends. Because this isn't, also you have to understand that is not dressing up for me. That's just being a little bit pointed and highlighted. Because I'm still wearing like proper dance attire. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess. Okay.
So this was not a costume for me.
So I was just
wearing a very flashy, dance attire outfit. I just was being an asshole.
Got it. Okay. I'm trying to translate into my world, which is worthless because most of the people listening to this aren't more me. They're more Broadway people. But I grew up playing hockey, nice. and I like think of now I still play, and at this point when you're playing just beer leagues or adult leagues, it's like it's for fun. But every once in a while, someone shows up with like the face like shield that's like reflective or something. And it's just like, you've got to be really good to wear that in this game and not be made fun of or not be just ridiculed the whole time.
Yeah.
And so that's what it sounds like you did. Yeah. It's like, hey, this is still kind of like, quote unquote, your equipment.
Yeah. It's still the normal equipment, but it was a reflective mask.
I feel like I need to get a tiger onesie to wear to a game one time and just like to the locker room.
I think you should.
And then, okay, so you didn't like go full the cat's makeup and everything.
No. Like, I didn't have leg warmers or arm warmers or any of that shit. No. I just was in a clean, long-sleeved white unitard. No leg warmers, no nothing. Just a unitard. My hair was up in a high bun, and I had like a cat eye eyeliner because I always wear cat eye eyeliner for auditions.
And what was the reaction to the actual audition? Not the other people in the warm-up room, but like, was it recognized that there was this kind of like, I don't know what the term is, but like you kind of came in guns blazing a little bit.
I did. And they were like, they looked at me and they just laughed and shook their head and they were just like, work, go, like live your dreams. They know that that I was a concert dancer before Broadway. They knew that I danced in companies and that I have strong ballet technique. So they looked at me like, they laughed at first, like, oh, I can't, like, of course you did this, Emma, because you're so extra. And like kind of rolled their eyes, but they were like, go kill that audition. Because they knew I could, you know? Yeah. Like one of my friends, Kurt, he's like phenomenal. He was in New York City Ballet. And then we did the workshop of American in Paris together. And we were in the same group. And I think I went last. I was in the last group, and he like, what did he say? He's like, oh, like everybody's been waiting for this. Like, Emma's going up now. Like everybody's waiting. And it was funny. Like I really killed it. I remember being like, I was so on my leg. I was so like everything. I was it was one of the best auditions that I've ever had.
And you went in even knowing that you really didn't even really want the role. You wanted to go in and deliver. I just wanted to deliver, and I wanted any role possible. I just wanted to be in the show. I just wanted to dance in general. I just wanted to dance.
because I had been doing the same show for a couple of years already. So I just wanted something new. So I wasn't like Victoria or nothing. I just wanted to make a statement, and I wanted to have fun. And everybody was taking it so seriously. You have to understand that, like, the way that Broadway people like talk and think about Broadway and refer to Broadway is as though we are doing heart surgery, and is as though like somebody's life depends on it. And I was always of the dance world, and I always was into film. So I never was a big Broadway person. So every time I would come into Broadway, like at Broadway circles and communities, I would just kind of be like, but it's not that big of a deal. And I would always get a lot of shit for saying that, because I'm like, whatever, it's just it's a musical. Who cares? It's not heart surgery. But people are like, oh, how dare you? It's Broadway. It's Cats. So that was kind of the sentiment behind it, was that I was like, we're not doing heart surgery. It's just a musical. Like, everybody calm down. Let's have some fun. Because if we're not having fun, then why are we doing this at all? We should be having fun. This is amazing. Like, one of the original cast members was at our audition, teaching our audition. Like, that is history. It was beautiful. It was amazing. And I was like, this should be fun. But also, you need to kill it. Like, if you're going to walk in with a white unitard and a tiger onesie, you have to have the chops. So that was my whole thing.
It's so fun to kind of think about. And it's refreshing to hear that, because being someone who's not really part of the community by any means, I have a whole show devoted to just why I think the story was written wrong. That's the premise of the show. And it is like, I go when I see, and living in New York, I see a lot of them now. I get to go, and I'm very grateful to be able to go see Broadway. But I usually walk out, I'm just like, oh, that was good, or that was not as good.
It's not life or death.
But because I don't know anything else about the rest. I was like, oh, that singing sounded great, or that dancing looked really hard. I can't do that. But I couldn't do the most basic of TikTok dances, let alone Broadway dancing. And so it's like, it is an interesting piece to hear, like, from you, that is like, it's fun. Let's have fun. Let's do that. Because I think you can see that in some of the shows I've seen, where you can tell the group is having fun.
Yeah. And that was the whole point of me being, extra for that audition. So should I tell the rest of the story?
Yeah, I want to hear the rest. Of course.
So I, like, Kurt was like, oh, Emma's group is going up. Like, oh my God, everybody get ready. Like, Emma's going up. So I go up. I was like, wow, I really nailed that. That was amazing. I was so proud of myself. It was one of the best auditions I had ever had. I was like, wow, I really lived up to the white unitard. I patted myself on the back. I was so proud. Then I had to go to my theater to do my show that night. So that night, we're all getting ready. Everybody's talking about the audition. We get our 5 minutes to curtain. So, like, one person, they start getting callbacks. People start getting callbacks. And I was like,
right before your show. Wow.
Oh, during the show starting. You have to also understand that, like, life goes on, and Broadway's always happening, except for a pandemic. Yeah. But, because we're living in an anomalous time right now.
I would just assume that a callback, like, that Broadway would know that there's hey. Oh,
they don't care.
8 o'clock on most nights, they're probably going to be busy.
Yeah, but they don't care, because it's always about what's coming next. That's the industry in general. It's like, what's next? So everybody's getting their callbacks, and I was like, oh, I'm so excited to get my callback. I was so confident. Like, I received a text from somebody in Bill T. Jones, the company, who went to college with me. We were in a dance conservatory together. I received a text from him that night being like, I heard about you in the Cats audition. I heard that you slayed it. Congrats. Like, that's how my audition went. That it was getting to the concert dance world, and I was receiving texts about, like, how, like, congrats, you booked it, basically. And I was like, oh, I'm amazing. I'm the best. And I'm funny. I was on cloud 9. So I'm waiting for my callback, which I was certain that I was going to get. And there's this one part, I think the show was starting, and every single one of the girls in my cast got a call back except for, and I was like, did you get a call back? Did you? Everybody's like, yeah, I got my call back. Yeah, I got my call back. And I text my agent. I was like, have you heard anything? You know, nothing. Sorry. Yeah, it's really weird. I thought I would hear something. Okay, cool. And there's this one part, like right before this one dance number that I always stretch in the back of the stage. And like, where people do crossovers. And I was stretching with like this beautiful costume. And, it was a beautiful moment. And I was fully crying. I fully cried. I was so sad. I was crying over my legs, stretching, about to go do a happy dance number in Finding Neverland. And because I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that I didn't get a call back. And they, like, I think they said, what did he say? Like, the only feedback was, we just weren't into her. Which is,
not helpful.
Isn't that amazing? We just weren't into her. I was like, oh, okay, cool, great. They weren't into me. Okay, fine.
What a world.
I was just so bamboozled. I was bamboozled because I was so sure. I was just, I thought that I was Sylvie Guillem, who's like my favorite incredible prima ballerina. I was sure that I got it. So cut to like a month later, everybody booked, like they had all booked Cats. They were starting the workshop. My friends were all in it. I was like super jealous, but I was like, whatever, I don't care. Fuck you. Cats is stupid anyway. It's Jellicle, whatever. Who cares? And then I got an audition for Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And then I booked Veruca Salt.
Yeah.
And it conflicted with Cats. So the moral of the story is always know who you are, because they didn't want a personality like mine. They wanted something different, because I came in there, who knows? It doesn't matter. What matters is that I stayed true to myself, because I am an idiot and I love making people laugh and being extra. So I stayed true to myself, and I didn't get the job that I thought that I wanted. But because I stayed true to myself and I still put that same fervor and that same extremity into my audition for Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, I ended up booking a principal role that I got to create in point shoes, and I got to live my ballet dreams.
Which I think my next question was going to be, which I think you just answered, was, would you do anything differently? And it's clear no.
No.
Go right back in. Maybe not, a cat onesie instead of a tiger onesie next time.
Yeah, next time I'm going to paint my face. Next time I'm going to paint my face. I'm going to get the leg warmers. I'm going to get the hand warmers. I'm going to do ears. Just go, because we only have one life to live. I'm not going to take something so seriously that is so silly, because look at the show. It's a silly show. Like, I'm going to take it seriously. What I'm going to take seriously is the work, the technique, and the commitment to the work. But I'm not going to take myself seriously, because that's just, what's the point? That's why I love drag queens so much, is because they are committed to what they're doing and they give 100% in their show. But at the end of the day, they know that they're a man in a dress, and they're not going to take themselves seriously, because we have to have fun. You have to lighten the mood. So that was my whole lesson from that, because I really was devastated that I didn't get a call back. I truly was crying. Those were real tears of sadness.
Yeah, it has to hurt. It's definitely got to be a tough business. I mean, so I do love the fact though that, like, one is that it worked out, and in the long run, a good thing came from it.
Yeah.
But also there is the knowing that, like, you'd go back and do it again. It was like, it was a decision that you made, and you can live with decision if that was just the wrong decision, because that's not what they wanted, but that's still how you would go back and do it again, which is
because it's me.
All you want. Yeah.
It's me, and that's who I am. And like, I'm still working on loving myself as I feel like we all are. We're all on a journey of self-love. But I think that was a huge lesson for me in not people pleasing and just staying true to who I really am and to what makes me shine. Because what made me shine was what gave me a role that I didn't even know that I wanted.
Mm-hmm. Which, should in the long run always be better for everybody, is to stand true to yourself. So I want to pivot to the show now, but the way I want to do it is I want to talk about your new show.
Okay.
So I have been watching, and I love your character.
Oh my God. I can't wait for you to watch the rest, because it's only been the first 3 episodes.
3 episodes. I've watched the first 3.
You hardly have seen anything.
Yeah. I know. And your character is also a little extra.
So extra. Shocking.
Which is super fun to watch. So what I want to do is, because when we'll get to my thesis on the show towards the end, and I'm curious to hear your take if you agree with me or not. But what I want to do is I want to talk about your show. I want you to tell me a little bit about it, but then, for anyone who hasn't had a chance to see it yet, only 3 episodes in, but then I want to go through each one of the main characters, and I want to pick out which cat they'd be.
Okay.
And I've done a lot more thinking than I probably should admit that I've done about this for who they should be. And I have some, but I want to hear what you think as well.
Oh.
But first, tell me a little bit, tell me more about the show. Tell me about what it's like, how it's been. And for anybody that's listening that hasn't had a chance to see it, what they're going to get. Well,
so I'm doing this new ABC sitcom called Call Your Mother. It's on Wednesdays at 9:30. It's a show about an empty nester. The mom is played by Kira Sedgwick, and she isn't able to reach her son because she's an empty nester in Indiana. I believe
she's in Iowa. She's in Iowa.
In Iowa. You said
very
Indiana.
Grateful that it wasn't going to just rain on an Indiana parade.
No, it's in Iowa.
You can pick on Iowa today. That's great.
And she calls her son. She can't reach him, so she moves. Or she goes to LA spontaneously without telling him, and then ends up staying in LA because she wants to keep her family together because the dad died when the kids were young. So I play her son's girlfriend, who's like a social media influencer. She's basically like an alien to Jean's character, to Kira Sedgwick's character. So she's like the opposite of Jean. She's Latina. She's a social media influencer. She's very outspoken. She's very opinionated. She's very honest. She's very blunt. She knows what she wants. She's a businesswoman. She's very clear. So they kind of butt heads.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fun. It's a really light show. It's for everyone. I think the appeal for the show today, in this day and age, and what's happening in our world, is just to bring lightness and joy and laughter and just kind of an escape to everyday life. Because also the show is set in post-quarantine.
Yeah, and even calls to that a little bit. Mm-hmm. I noticed that the last episode was called Quarantine. I think it was it was kind of pulling off of that. I also do appreciate that there are a wide variety of characters, which means that there's probably someone in the cast that is relatable to most personalities.
There's so many people in the cast that you can relate to, and from different walks of life. Like my favorite, I shouldn't say my favorite, but I'm honest. Sherry Shepherd is on the show. She's now a recurring role. She started as a guest, and she plays Jean's best friend. And she's just like such a breath of fresh air, just in general in life. I love her so much. But she's a great role. She's just kind of like the best friend who likes to watch bad TV and wants to critique everything. And she just gives her opinion, and she's just really funny. And Austin Crute plays Lane, who's Rachel Sennett, who plays Jackie, who's Freddie's sister. He plays the gay roommate that you'll see later on the episodes. He does music, and he's really sassy and fun and his own unique person. Everybody's just bringing themselves to the table, and we all really like each other, which is amazing and doesn't always happen in life, in jobs. But I'm really lucky that we really are having a lot of fun on like doing this show about reconnecting to family and about joy.
Yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, it's 3 episodes in, so and when we're recording this, I don't know how many we'll have by the time it's launched. But while recording, there's been 3 episodes, so I'm basing all of my knowledge off the first 3 episodes.
Cute.
And I want to hear what you think. So I'm going to go through each character, and I want you to tell me who you think they would be, like which cat they relate to.
I'm going to be bad at this, by the way.
That's okay. I'm ready for the answers too. So first is Jean.
Jean, I think she has to be
Grisabella?
Grisabella, right? Doesn't she have to be Grisabella?
In character? I had her as Jenny Any Dots, which is like the mom character.
Oh, I don't even remember who that is.
We might just run through these.
I'm so bad. You should say them first, and then I should just agree or disagree.
Okay.
Everybody listening to this is going to be like, wow, she's useless.
You know Victoria, right?
I know Victoria.
Okay. So let's go. Who would be your character?
It's the two like sexy cats who sing the duet.
Demeter and Bomb.
Demeter. I think that Celia would be Demeter.
Ooh, that's a good. Okay, I actually thought you'd be Victoria.
Victoria, but Victoria's too innocent and pure for Celia.
So I actually have that written too. So I agree with you there. But I also put Grisabella. There's a lot of theories that Victoria Grisabella was Victoria.
Yes.
But she went through some stuff.
You're right.
And so I actually think your character is like somewhere in between those two. Like you're hopefully not going too far down that path to Grisabella's world, but your character has a little bit of that.
Celia has a lot more sass. I feel like.
Yeah, which would be Bomb and Demeter. So that does
she has
work.
a lot more sass and a lot more confidence.
Okay, so let's go to I had Jackie, the sister, placed as one of those two.
Really?
But she's a little bit more reserved, it feels like.
She's a little more reserved. She's a little more like
of the two.
She's a little more reserved, and I don't want to say dorky. That's such a terrible adjective. I mean, because I also don't want to give away like how her character develops in the show on Call Your Mother, but I think because she has depth to her also. Like she's not innocent and pure or sexy and confident.
So let me tell you the depth of Demeter's character then, because I've spent 30 plus episodes thinking about just the storyline of this. Nothing else, not the dancing, the singing, or anything else. Just purely how it was written of a story. And I generally base most of my thought in sitcoms because that's the type of TV I love. Demeter's character is in theory, in some versions of this, in an abusive relationship with one of the other cats.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of depth to that character that doesn't get as much visibility into there. So that's kind of how I had.
Rum Tum Tugger is the whole. He's the abuser.
No, it's McCavity.
McCavity. Yes. It's all coming screaming back to me.
Yeah, the VHS is rewinding into your mind.
I also did see it on Broadway.
Okay, so you saw the revival.
And Samantha Sturm, I think, played Demeter, and it was amazing.
What about your boyfriend? What about the son, Freddie? I had a lot of trouble with Freddie because I don't think there's a parallel.
There's not. I was thinking Mungo Jerry and Rumpelteazer are like Emma and Joey's dynamic. Like us in real life, our dynamic is Mungo Jerry and Rumpelteazer.
Oh, that's fun. Okay.
Which
that's super fun.
I actually had a director session with John Hooper to play Rumpelteazer for the movie.
Really?
Fun fact.
They did that as the original British version.
They did. And so I sang the slow one. It was like, Mungo Jerry and Rumpelteazer, it was a different melody. It was because I remember asking all my Cats friends to be like, what is this melody? And they were like, what? Like, because it was for the film. It was a different. I had to like I had to have a whole session. It was a whole thing. It was very different.
I was not prepared for that because that was one of my favorite parts when I saw the revival the first time. I saw it twice. The first time I saw it, I knew nothing about it. Walked in, walked out, like mesmerized. Wasn't told anything. Didn't know the history. Never watched the VHS.
Oh my God.
Had
an
a ticket.
Trip.
Yeah, and was dead sober, which was a mistake. And so that was the one song that I sang for like a week.
Wow.
And then when the movie came, and I heard the remix version, or I guess it's really the original.
It's the original.
I was not happy because I was really excited to see how they did that scene.
Yeah, they made it different. But I almost booked that. Another almost. Well, it wasn't almost for the Broadway one.
Did you wear your white?
No, it was on Skype because he was in England, John Hooper. But do you know what he said? He was like, Andy Blankenbuehler had the best things to say about you. And I was like, oh, he did?
Wow.
Isn't that funny? Life is funny.
It is. It is an interesting. It's kind of fascinating just how everything kind of sometimes comes full circle. And
that was a full circle moment for me because the Broadway audition really, it was a moment. It was a traumatic moment for me. Yes, so that was my redemption. I was like, well, I'm going to be in the movie, but then I didn't get the movie. So yeah.
Let's run into rapid fire.
Okay.
And we'll lead to kind of my last question, which is I'll give you my argument, but I'd be curious to hear if you want to agree or disagree with me. But first thing is, who did you like really? I know you said you wanted to just be anybody, but if you had to pick of choice, which character would you want to play?
I would want to play. I have two answers because I do want to do the Victoria solo just because it's such a beautiful adagio. And just the ballerina in me would love to do that. But I think I would want to play Demeter.
Now, I want to reframe this question for the rapid fire. What if you just ignore, like, this is my skill set, this is what I'm good at. Like, if I could do anybody, would that change your answer?
If I could be anybody, I think I'd want to be McCavity.
The villain.
The villain, because that's so fun.
Yeah, I feel like with everything you've told me about with everything you've told me so far, I feel like you would do McCavity or Rum Tug Tugger, like the rock star.
Yeah. The rock star. That's what I meant.
That's Tugger.
I didn't mean.
Oh yeah, you would be.
I always get those two mixed up. I'm terrible. Useless. I want to be Rum Tug Tugger.
Extra role.
The Terrence Mann role.
Yes, it was Tyler Haynes in the revival one.
Tyler Haynes.
Yes. Okay. I feel like that would be.
Yeah, I want to be Rum Tug Tugger.
You would have a lot of fun with the personality of doing that each night. What is your favorite and least favorite character in the show?
Oh my God, I don't know. I think my favorite character maybe is. What's the little one who sings like the memory? What is it?
Grisabella is the main one.
Not Grisabella. Not the old one that sings memory, but the little one who she like.
So, it depends on the production. I've learned, but I think it's one of the younger.
It's one of that little tiny kitten that she like comes out and then she sings memory like an octave up. It's the cutest moment, and I think it's so precious, and I love that moment.
Okay, so that's your favorite. What about least favorite? Do you have anybody that you just
favorite? I mean, I liked the tap number because it was this amazing tapper on the Broadway show, but I could do without the tap number, I guess.
Okay, so that's the mom. That's the one that in the movie also gets a little weird.
Yeah, I could do without it because I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, again, if you're talking about skill set, I admired it. I respected it. She was fabulous. But I was like, why? They're in unitards. I want to see ballet and contemporary dance. I want them in the floor. I want them crouched. I want them on all fours. I want to see dance. I don't want to see no tap. That's my.
I love it. I love it because you're coming from your lens, and I watch this from a totally different view.
Yeah.
As like an outsider, just having no idea, don't know anything about contemporary dance, don't know anything about ballet, don't know about any of this, and I'm just like, that looked hard, and I was like, so that was
hard.
cool.
It is hard, and that's why I love it so much, because you don't understand, like, these dancers, and especially it's a raked stage. The stage is tilted. It's
Really?
A raked stage. So a normal Broadway stage is flat, but a rake stage, it comes from the Shakespearean days, that to give better sound, like in a proscenium, the stage would be tilted down. It was
So it basically tilts towards
and so that everybody could see in like an arena. So it was better for optics and for audio if the stage was raked. So it's an old school thing. So whenever you have a raked stage, like in this day and age, it's just evil because it's so hard on the body. Like even walking on a slanted stage is you are prone to injury. So if you are dancing the choreography of Cats on a raked stage, the amount of respect I have for those dancers is like through the roof. Like I
never knew that.
Phenomenal.
And then, like, it makes it even more impressive because you see all these things, and if it's like, oh, you're on your toe and it's pointed down, like the stage is pointed down, like that's.
So think about what that does to their legs.
Yeah. Wow. See, learn something new. I know so little about this anyway, so it's like I always learn something new.
These dancers are the best dancers on Broadway, the best dancers in the country. Like they're phenomenal.
Well, and that was when I first saw it, and the whole premise of this came up. I was very angry at the writing of the story. I was like, but the like everything else, the singing, the dancing, everything else was like, that looked really impressive. This is like top of their field, really cool, really unique, really different. But I was like, but the story has some flaws. And that is where I've kind of spent.
I didn't even understand what it was. Like even when I was in the audience at the Broadway stage, I was with my friend, and I was like, what just happened? When it ended, I was like, what? I didn't even know that she died. I was so confused.
Yeah, I mean, they murder a cat to end the show.
I was so confused. I was like, the moon is coming down. I was like, what? I also was not sober, so.
I wish I was given that recommendation. I was not.
I was like, what's happening?
The first time. Okay. Last question is favorite song from the show.
I loved the song that Colin did.
So with the train.
I loved it just because it was Colin.
Yeah, I have a beef, which I discussed with him, and I don't know if his episode will be out.
I'm biased, though.
Yeah, I don't know if his episode will be out by the time this one's out, so I'll save most of my beef for that.
Okay, I'll have to listen.
I was traumatized by his particular the way that they designed the set, shined a light into the crowd, and it like blinded me. Like it hit me.
Traumatizing.
And so I remember being like, oh, this is fun. And then I was just like, when the minute it hit me, I couldn't see. I was like, I don't like this cat anymore. You
were personally offended.
So I had a very long conversation with Colin about that.
I understand.
But it's a fun scene in general.
Scene.
And it's cool
Colin
to see.
Was just so good.
Yeah, and they build a train. Like that's cool.
That was a big deal.
Yeah.
It makes absolutely no sense. I don't know why. I don't know the motivation for it, but I was along for the ride.
Well, he's the railway cat.
Sure.
That's it. That's the whole time. That's the whole time. There's not a lot else besides that he's the railway cat. That number.
If I took a cat's quiz right now, I would fail.
I can answer one line of questioning only, and that's it. And that's all I know is the story.
The story.
So I the same thing. You could say, oh, this person did this, or what's the little offbeat cat who said this? I'm like, I don't know, but I do know that number was not the way that this should have been, and this is the story here, and this is what happened.
That.
And that's my last question, which is, I have argued, and the reason this whole thing exists is that I don't think Grisabella should have been the cat to die at the end. She shouldn't have been the choice to die because it's a reward. I know you probably haven't put any thought into this, but do you agree or disagree with me? Do you think she was the right choice?
Let's just talk about the lifespan of a cat in general, like an actual cat. Like I had a cat that lived to 17 years.
Wow.
By that time, it's like, just put the cat out of their misery, you know? I feel like Grisabella was like, she was 18.
It was time.
It was time. She needed to go. It was her time.
Yeah, with that argument though, that argument is the argument for the character Gus, who is even older.
Gus. Oh, I forgot about him.
And he's the number one argument against her.
You're absolutely right. Right.
Yeah,
I completely forgot about him. There's so many of them.
Oh, there's like 25 characters total, I think. And there's some that are playing multiple. Each one's get the songs. I think I found that there's like 9 that really I thought were contending for the right to die.
Okay.
And because I looked at it as a singing competition.
So do you think that McCavity should die? Because he's
McCavity's too villainous. Like you need
him.
He didn't deserve it.
He didn't deserve
but it depends on how you.
Because this is a good thing. Because we want.
It's a good thing. Yeah.
Who deserves the prize?
So it depends on how you examine it. Okay. Most people examine it with Grisabella's the redemption story.
True.
Or Gus is the older one that's lived his life and should go. Those are the two kind of common arguments. I argued that this was because I saw it with Leona Lewis, The X Factor. And it's a singing competition. And so I wanted to see who had the best performance. Who was the most entertaining for me? Who did I remember most? And that to me was Tugger and Mistopheles. Oh, yeah, Mistopheles. And so that is how I argued.
I agree with anything you say.
I appreciate the support. I know I've spent more time thinking about this, but I really wanted to hear, and I'm glad because not only did I get to hear about your audition, but I just love the message behind it, which is like, I know what I'm capable of doing. I'm going to go own it. I think I was made to believe by your friend that it was like, I was expecting full cat hair, wig.
Yeah, well, it's Colin telling the story. So if he told the story, he's like, she was in the White House and then Obama came out. Yeah, no, come on.
But I do love that you just owned your truth.
That was my truth.
And went with it, and it all worked out. In the long run, it all worked out because you're on ABC now. Because I'm on ABC now, and I'm gonna get a white unitard somewhere into ABC just for this podcast. Just for this moment, I'm gonna find a way to get me in a white long sleeve unitard just for you, Mike. Social influencer.
Oh yeah.
Gonna go viral.
I'm gonna find that picture of me in the white unitard.
I would love
the Capizio dance store.
I would love to include it in the description and everything in this. I need
to find it. I need to.
That would be phenomenal to include that for the visual for this audio form.
Oh my God.
So my last question is, how can we find you on social media, stay in touch with you?
My social media, my Instagram and my Twitter are different, I think. It's Emma Caymares on Instagram, and then it's Emma Sophia Kai on Twitter. I'm new to Twitter. I just got a Twitter like a month ago.
Okay. Are you enjoying it? Are you tweeting a lot?
It's so funny and ironic that I play a social media influencer because, social media is a funny little dimension. But it has its purposes and it has its ups, its pros. But I just prefer the real world.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for being here, for being on this episode. And thanks everyone for listening to this episode of The Wrong Cat Died, the podcast breaking down the catastrophe. To follow along, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or anywhere else you listen to podcasts. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Wrong Cat Died, or check out our website, thewrongcatdied.com.